Welcome to another edition of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of entrepreneurs one digital footprint at a time. It took me like 3 weeks to memorize that, but finally I think I got it down. What do you think, Susan?
That's pretty good. I just started a radio show, and the same thing. You kind of have to get down your intro and your closing. I'm still working on that.
You got a radio show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about it, but before you tell me anything about it, tell me about yourself first of all.
What about me?
I want to know, you have a beautiful company called You Succeed, and you're a life coach.
Yes, I am.
Susan Moody is in the house.
So I actually call myself a success coach.
Oh, all right.
And a portion of that is the life and the business sections, but it's really however you define success. And for some people, they want to create a business, that makes money, makes a difference. For some people, they just want to be reconnected with their purpose and passion and live a life they love. So it's however they define success.
Let me touch on that because I think that is important, how we define success.
Yes.
The way that I may define success is certainly very different from what you may define as success.
Exactly.
It's certainly very different from another entrepreneur or another business person or just somebody that works at a 9-to-5 job that may say, I am happy, I am successful.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
I think in today's environment, everybody's like, dream bigger, think bigger, go home, but that's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to have a multi-million-dollar business. They'd be happy with a $1 million business and still having a home life and things like that. There's a lot of trade-offs when you start getting into the higher dollar figures and things like that.
Do you think that how could I put this? I don't want to put the blame on the media, but I'm going to, because the media portrays success very, very distinctly. I mean, Ferrari, it's got to be red. The Lambo next to it, it's got to be black, and then it's got to be, a huge mansion behind it, right? And that's success. But that's not really it.
Not for everybody. I'm pretty happy being the millionaire next door that nobody really knows about, right? So I don't really need a lot of the outward symbols of success,
right.
But some people do. So like I said, that's how you say whatever defines success for you. You might like being able to have time and money freedom rather than lots of money. You want to be able to go to your kids' after school programs and have the flexibility with your business to be able to do that.
Would it be okay, though, to define success a little bit more than we might define success? So in other words, hey, look, maybe I define success as maybe having my house, my car, my wife, my children, all of which I do not have, and
well,
3 out of 4.
Okay.
But at any rate, wouldn't that kind of breathe a little bit of complacency and not provide me more aspirations, if you will? Maybe I want to become more than what I have right now. And indeed, that is our capitalistic system, isn't it?
Right, but more can be even not just the capitalism. It could be more like you want to maybe find the love of your life. Maybe you don't, So it doesn't always have to be around the money.
Right.
It could be around your relationships, your health, and your well-being. That's important too.
So tell us a little bit about your journey. Where did you start your entrepreneurship career? Were you always an entrepreneur? Or did you
I actually went to school, got a degree in education, started out as a teacher.
Okay.
My first business was, of course, babysitting back in the day, but I actually went to school to become a teacher and was raised to be, quiet child, dutiful daughter, good wife, those type of things. Got married fairly young, had 2 kids, thought we were happy, but my husband apparently wasn't. And so that was my first experience where good wasn't good enough. And so I ended up having to change careers. Because even though I love teaching, I need to make more money if I'm going to raise 2 children. So anyway, I went into the computer industry. I happened to be working in the Silicon Valley at the time, was able to get into computer industry and did very well there. But I had moved up the corporate ladder, but it wasn't feeling like the right fit for me. And I really...
What was missing?
The flexibility, having 2 kids and having to, punch into the clock every day. And I have an entrepreneurial mindset, I believe. I like the creativity, and I find the day-to-day grind that some people are very comfortable with was not really a good fit for me. So I started thinking about what kind of business could I do. And so I started a side business while I was working at the computer industry doing, at that time, desktop publishing.
How
way
could I
back
forget?
when.
Well, that's
Yeah,
way
way
back.
back
You're
when.
really reaching back,
Exactly. You asked me. So I started doing that, and that was kind of from there. I started doing different businesses. And I found that really the part that I like is the whole startup and the setup of the business. I don't like the day-to-day. So that's why I've had over 10 businesses, because I start them and get them to a certain point and, either sell them or, close them, depending what I'm doing, and what's working for me, what's not working for me. Yeah. So the executive suites business.
Yes.
So I had had some businesses, went to work, had a failed business with a business partner that stole everything from me, and so I had to go back to ground zero, right, and had to file bankruptcy, get myself back on my feet, went back and took a position in the computer industry again, went back to my roots there, again, moved up the corporate ladder, and they were bought out by another company, and by that time I was a director at the company, so I got a very nice severance package, right, and said, okay, what do I want to do now? And so I started putting together all the things I like to do, and I thought, I could do an executive suites business. I like supporting people in business, and I wanted to have a daycare center there so people can bring their kids to work, and I had a beauty salon and a massage center and a meeting and events place, did weddings. So I put everything I love to do in one building for executive suites business. Did very well, but within 2 years, a corporation came in and said, we love the concept. We're going to buy you out. So,
cool. I am waiting for that. We love the concept. We're going to buy you out. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
But I love what we're doing here at the Office Pile. And let me touch a little bit about when you talk about your journey. You are talking about, from where I stand, or what people outside your experience would deem as failures. There's a failed marriage, there's a failed business over here, I had to file for bankruptcy, I had to do all these things. But in talking to you, what I'm hearing is those were learning experiences. Those were things that I learned from that propel me to be where I am right now.
Yes, so I don't use the word failure.
Okay.
I use the word feedback.
Okay.
And so every time you have a setback,
Right.
and something doesn't work, like I said, you learn from it and figure, what could I have done differently, or what can I do differently next time? So I like to use the word feedback versus failure. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So you had a lot of feedbacks.
Yes.
How did you deal with that? I mean, did you allow yourself a lot of time to brood over it, to be depressed?
But there was.
How did you deal with failure or with feedback?
So the most recent that I had, actually most of the time I have a backup plan. And so it allows me to kind of move quickly past into the next phase, right? So I usually have a backup plan. But I did fairly recently have one where I was not prepared. And so that one, I had to take some time, like you said, to go through a grieving process and think, oh gosh, I didn't have a backup plan in place. The recession hit like this. I wasn't prepared for it. So I had to take some time, step back, do the grieving process, relook at things and say, okay, now what? What do I want to do next? And at that time I thought, I really can't, and I am married now, can't convince my husband to start another business. So, and I didn't want to go back to the 8 to 5 type of job. So I started, so then my job became finding a job that was going to work for me. And so I always, there's always something, I don't just sit back and just become a victim, right? I'm always like, okay, this happened. What did you learn from it? Pick yourself up, move on. And I got myself a contracting job, actually.
Let me just make a comment, because what I admire about you right now is that resilience.
Oh.
It's resilience. And that little word right there, I think that it's the lesson that I'm learning from this interview, because it doesn't matter what your feedbacks or your challenges are throughout your journey. And I think what I'm hearing is what matters is that you're resilient, that you just go back to it, have a backup plan. Is that what you would advise entrepreneurs coming up the ladder?
Well, I think there's two things. Yes, you need to have tenacity, you need to be persistent. You got to be committed not only to your business but to yourself. And that's a big part of it. And I think I used to sit on the board for the SBA when I lived in Sacramento. And they said, Susan, you need to come and do some speaking, for, our roundtables. And I said, well, you might not like what I have to say. Because I truly believe it takes more than capital and a business plan to run a business. You need to have courage. because there's going to be a lot of things you need to do
Yep.
that you might not want to do, and you have to be committed to it.
It's easy to give up.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yeah.
hard to just say, all right, this is, what did I learn about this? Let me go to plan B and let's start
Right.
again.
Or what else can I do to bring in some additional income that, helps me to sustain the business? Because especially today, they think you can become a millionaire overnight. You just put a product online and boom, you.
And that's going back to what
Yeah.
we were talking about at the beginning of the interview, is the fact that the media has portrayed or defined success much, much differently than what we're discussing right now. So sex may be just, hey, I'm happy where I am right now, man. This is cool right here. I got everything I want.
And that's
I'm
okay.
all right. And that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe somewhere down the road you say, oh, well, maybe I would like to do something different, or, have something different. And then you can go into a different phase of your life. It's hard to sustain always being at this level too. It takes a tremendous amount of energy. Right?
It's hard. What I usually say is it's hard to sustain that level of being 150% all the time. But so long as you have that 100% commitment, I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You're amazing, man. You're amazing. I look at this. Things fly around here. Look at it. This is my cue, supposedly. Taylor's got me down. But I think that resiliency that you have, that commitment that you have, it just inspires me. And it inspires thousands and thousands of people that are watching this video. They're going to be clicking, finding out, hey, how does she do it? How does she deal with failure? Because it's equally, I think it's very important. How you deal with those challenging times is equally as important how to deal with success.
Well, guess what? I just released my book that talks about my story and my process that I kind of go through each and every time. Because a lot of times people consider me fearless. I'm not. I just want what I want, and so I figure out what to do. But because I've been able to reinvent myself, several times, I like to do different things. So I think
you're fearless. I think you're courageous. I think you're fearless. And I'm going to start throwing adjectives, for the rest of the day because I really admire you.
So as I put my story into a book, and I actually include my system in there. So if somebody want to know how she did it, and here's the exact process, it has worksheets in there. So I don't like to just give theory. It has some tangible, worksheets and stuff in there for them as well.
There was a workshop that our video producer Taylor gave yesterday. When this interview is done, I think I learned how to put your phone number or a link where people can go and buy your book directly. Is that online?
Yes.
Is it available online?
I
right
actually
now?
brought a copy for you if you'd like.
Oh my! I tell you what, I don't have a book, but I have a beautiful gift for you. And what this is, I'm going to open it up a little bit.
Okay.
It's here it is. We're talking about all these things, all these values, all these virtues and stuff. Don't mind the size; we'll get you the right size. But it's for a peaceful soul, and some of the virtues that entrepreneurs should have, we think: simplicity, discipline, humility, kindness, and honesty. You have that and then some, man. You're just courageous.
Thank you very much.
So just enjoy that. I'm going to give you the plastic bag. Look at that. Plastic bag and everything else. Do you have the book around here so that I can just show it to the millions and millions of watchers? I wish, right? All right. Seize the day. Susan Moody, certified business success and life coach. I am absolutely going to read this, and if you can sign it for me, I would love it, man. I mean, this is... In fact, you just gave me I'm ready to rock and roll. Bring on the rest of the interviews, man. You're so sweet. Let me give you that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And with that, check this out.
All right.
We're out.
We're out.
Welcome to